background information, I was 16 and in 10th grade. So this whole thing started 2 years ago whenever my crush asked me on a date, and then blah blah blah, we became official, and I decided to introduce him to my best friend Vivian. And we're gonna call my boyfriend Louise. So one day we're all in my room watching a movie, and I went to go and grab some snacks, but I left the door open because I wanted to see what was happening in the movie. And while I'm in the kitchen, I see Louise staring at Vivian. I was low-key weirded out, because why are you doing that? Anyway, so then I went into the room and I felt this weird tension between them. So I stopped inviting my best friend to come over whenever we would hang out. And she got super mad at me for this. And Vivi and I would always pull pranks on each other. So the one day I call up her boyfriend John and I'm like, oh, we should say that we like each other. So we did, and she didn't care. Which maybe she just didn't think the prank was funny, but it was sus. So the next day I stop over at Vivian's house and she doesn't answer. For part 2. Part 2 about how I caught my boyfriend and my best friend. So like I said, I kind of felt bad for this prank, so I went over to her house the next day and I knock on the door and she doesn't answer. So I go around to the back door of her house and nobody was answering, so I looked through the window because the cars were there. And that's whenever I see her and my boyfriend. Yep. So obviously I was pissed off, and I happened to have my boyfriend's house key, so I went to the Dollar Tree and bought 50 different nail polishes. And as you could probably guess, I went to his house and put nail polish all over his clothes, his shoes, everything. Even his walls. When I left, I asked John if we could meet and talk, and Wednesday we decided to confront them. And Louise and Vivian said that they had been dating, secretly, behind our backs. Way before me and Louise even started dating. There really is no moral to this story, to be honest. It's just that girls need to start following girl code more.
I literally have a stalker and I am freaking out. When I was in 10th grade, there was this girl that, looking back on it now, she became obsessed with me. So I actually have never met this girl, but she went to my rival high school, and I don't know if she saw me at some of the games. I don't know how her infatuation started with me, but she found me on Facebook and she added me on there, and we've been Facebook friends ever since. Started with my first boyfriend. It was literally 10 years ago. Homegirl was a lot sloppier back then with her little weird stalker investigation work. So I started catching on to her 10 years ago. So back then, she was always sucking up to me in ways where it just was obvious. She'd randomly message me, comment all the time, and seem super nice. But I was automatically suspicious because I'm I don't know you, and I don't know, why are you so hard up to make sure that you're always commenting on everything of mine? It just came off kind of insincere, if you know what I'm saying. The emoji she was using and all of that. You don't even know me, and this went on for so long. That's the other thing. It's not she just had a stint of trying to be my friend or something. She just kept doing it, and I wasn't very responsive to her, and she kept going. So it just got a little more and more and more suspicious. Very first boyfriend I ever had, she starts following on Facebook, which was the cool thing back then. So that's Instagram in today's world, and I was just that's weird, and I don't like that, but whatever. So after boyfriend number 1, I noticed that after we break up, all of a sudden she's commenting all this flirty stuff on his Facebook pictures, and I'm you know, what I suspected. There's a little snake in the grass. Just to ignore it, I still am being nice to her when she's commenting to me and messaging me and whatever, because I was a lot nicer back then. Shouldn't have been, but I was, and I was it's fine, she just must be interested. Then my second boyfriend comes along, and a few months into us dating, after we've posted each other, this girl adds him on Facebook. Now this guy is not from anywhere around where we're from, so it was totally random that he and I even started dating. So that's when I was okay, the alarm bells are going off. I know for a fact you don't know him, and I even asked him and he was no, I don't know her. So this one's actually where it gets wild, because I end up finding out after we break up that they actually did link up after our breakup. So he knew how I felt about her, and he knew what the deal was, and he did not care, and she definitely did not care. Now boyfriend number 3 is where she crossed the line for me, okay? Back then I was all about this guy, and here she comes, following him on Instagram, and I was just Miss Girl, do you really think that I am not talking to my boyfriends? Do you think I don't keep tabs and know who's following them and who they're following? Get out of here. She kind of I feel was trying to act oh no, I'm just your friend, so I wouldn't be following your boyfriends. I'm homegirl, my best friends don't even follow him or them. No. And once again, boyfriend number 3 fell for it, and they started linking up after we broke up. That's great. She has no idea that I know any of this, by the way. It's just like, obviously I run in their circle because we dated, so I'm gonna find these things out, especially right after our breakup. She thought she was slick. Okay, now boyfriend number 4 is when she switches it up, because I think she realized how obvious she was being. So with boyfriend number 4, all of a sudden she is not following them until after we've broken up. So she's like keeping tabs while we're together, but then like she doesn't strike until we've broken up. And I think she also thought she'd have a better chance at like officially dating them, because I think that the whole thing here is she wants a boyfriend, and she's like, oh, these guys all are like down to have girlfriends. If they'll date her, then like they want another girlfriend. But it's like, after we break up, they're not looking for a girlfriend. So you're now just like the rebound. She wasn't getting that. So I think that's why she started waiting until after our breakup to follow them. I also think she realized that she was coming off like a little snake to them, so they couldn't take her seriously. None of these guys wanted to date her because they knew she was like snaking around during the relationship, which it's like they felt like they then can't trust her, because it's like, if you were trying to get me to cheat while I was with Alyssa, then I don't want to be with you because you'll probably cheat on me. You know what I'm saying? So I think she realized how sketchy she was coming off, and she was like, no, I need to look more girlfriend material. These are just the official boyfriends, by the way. I've caught her doing this multiple times with like other random guys that I just had things with that I'd like posted on my stories, or like clearly was hanging out with a lot or whatever. So many different people, and I'm just like, this isn't a coincidence, girly. This is like 15 different guys that you're just all of a sudden talking to. Like, I don't think so. I would literally go on one date with one random guy, like to a pumpkin patch or something, and then all of a sudden the next week she's following him and they're hanging out. So boyfriend number 4, he's from a completely different state, moves to Utah for me, and I know this homegirl did not know him, and it's like, if you knew each other, you would have been following each other before. Again, she waits until we break up, and then all of a sudden Miss Girl is sliding in those DMs. Now, I don't know if anything happened with this one after we broke up. My guess is yes, because this was a serial cheater, so it's like, why would he not go for freaking anything and everything after we broke up? I'm sure he did. Okay, now I'm with my current boyfriend, and I've been with him for like a year and a half, I think, is when we started posting each other, where everyone like knew we were together. And she hasn't like followed him or anything, but she started watching my Instagram stories lately, and she doesn't follow me on Instagram. And she's been watching my Facebook stories for like a long time now, so I kind of had a feeling this was coming, but like, this is the first boyfriend I've ever had that I fully trust. Well, I did with my very first boyfriend too, but like that doesn't really count. So I have a feeling Miss Girl is like hoping we're gonna break up soon because we've been together for so long or something, and she's just kind of like waiting to strike. But sorry, girl, it's not happening. Not this time. You can fool me once, you can fool me twice, you can fool me 15 times, but you will not fool me the 16th. I know what's up.